it's Shawnee. Welcome back. Guess what time it is? It is time for our weekly roundup where I go over all of the eyeshadow palettes I used over the past week and I rank them from least liked to most liked. So I'm just gonna jump right in. Today we have 6 slots and 7 palettes plus some singles. So the reason we have more palettes and things than slots is because I do a lot of like combining palettes and using singles with palettes and such. So let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna just jump right in with number 6, and that is actually 2 palettes, and they are both from Viseart. This is the Viseart Bridal Satin palette. It is all shimmer, kind of like satin shimmers. And then this is the Viseart Cool Mattes palette, which is all matte. Now, I really like putting Viseart mattes and shimmer palettes together, but I also like using them individually. So I just felt like these two really go together well. I feel like they have complementary colors. There are lots of shimmers you can use with quite a few of the mattes. So I really liked this combination. Initially, I was just going to do a matte look, and then I was like, I kind of want some shimmers in there. So that is why I pulled out the Bridal Satins. Let me know if you have any of these Viseart palettes. These are definitely in the older packaging. The newer packaging has more rounded edges, and the shades are easier to pop out. Like you can just pop them out with a magnet. These, you kind of have to like pull apart the palette itself, and I don't want to do that because I'm afraid of like messing it up. I've done it for other palettes, but I don't want to do it for my Viseart ones because I don't want to mess them up. But these two combined with one look to be at number 6. Now, number 5. That is the Lethal Cosmetics Velvet Dusk palette. This is one of their palettes that's like pre-made in terms of the color story, but you can also take each of these out and kind of rearrange things with other shadows if you'd like to. But I like to keep them kind of in the order that they came in just because I'm particular and persnickety. But also I do enjoy popping some of these out and using them as singles. What really impressed me about this palette is that I was able to get like a pretty simple look, but you can also get things that are a bit more like boom pow if you really wanted it. But this also, the eye look held up for a really long time of me being out in the 90-degree, very humid weather. So I was having like food and drinks and just sweating and everything, and my makeup held up so nicely, like the face makeup as well as the eyeshadow palette. So I would say give Lethal a try, especially if you haven't, because it held up in like some extreme circumstances. So this is at number 5. Number 4, here is where we have a palette and some singles. So the palette is the Blend Bunny Blends palette. This was like their first palette that they came out with. It's an all matte palette and pretty much has like the colors of the rainbow. So I often pull this out if I want a palette that has a lot of mattes and like all the colors that I would need. Oftentimes I'll pull out my Viseart, but sometimes those are a bit more curated. This is just like everything, right? And so I wanted to also include some singles with that. So I used these 2 singles. This one is from Pretties for Your Face, and it is called Dear Johnny. And this one is from Copacetic Cosmetics, and it is called Adorable. So this was a look that I did trying to like catch the vibes of a picture that my friend Nikki Lynn put on her Instagram. It was just a picture of like a beautiful sunset that had like a lot of purples and pinks and oranges. It was just like so pretty that I felt like, oh my gosh, I have to create a look with this. So this was actually a lot of fun to create. I think I did a video on it It's titled like inspired by a picture or a look inspired by a picture. So definitely go check that out and see how I combined this palette with these singles to create just an awesome like sunset-y kind of look. It was such a pretty picture. Okay, so that was number 4. Number 3 is one that was influenced by a comment. No, it was an Instagram DM from Dawn. And it is the palette from Natasha Denona, the Retro palette. Now, here is the palette. I really like this palette. I would say that the color story isn't like, you know, it's not like exceptionally different. Like, you can definitely get some similar looks from other palettes, but I still really like it. So, what I would say too is that this one and the My Dream palette, I feel like those are ones that are really good for folks with deeper skin tones. The shades just like are deep enough to show up. Especially the My Dream palette. Maybe I'll use that next week. But one thing Dawn mentioned is struggling with the cream to powders, and I don't think that it's an uncommon struggle. I seem to do fine with them. What I've learned is that you definitely want to use like a packer brush with the cream to powders, dip into them and then just pack them on. I think if you're trying to use like a fluffy brush and you're swirling in it and then like buffing it like this, I don't think it's going to work as well. But if you use something like this packer kind of brush and either swipe or tap into it and then pack it onto your eye, I think that works the best. But let me know how the cream to powders work for you. If you don't like the cream to powders, I would maybe not get this palette because the cream to powders are 1/3 of the palette. So you have 15 shades in total and 5 of them are cream to powder. So you've got Andy, which is this one. Then you've got Vivian, which is a cream to powder matte. Also, Vivian is spelled incorrectly either here or on the website because they have 2 different spellings. I'm just saying. You've also got Opart here, and then Go-Go and Rebellion. So if you don't like the cream to powders, you've got 1 to 2 in each row. So I would definitely stay away from that. But I really like the look that I came up with. It really made me remember I really like this palette. And I am okay with the cream to powders, but they seem to be like people either love them or people hate them. So if you hate them, don't get this girl because it's 1/3 of the palette. Now, top 2. Number 2 is the Nomad Royal Europe palette. And I just think this is such a pretty color story. I love that you get like different kind of chunks of color story. Like you've got your purples and your pinks and your greens and your blues. Wait. Yeah, and then your browns and your yellows, and I kind of stuck to this side over here, and I really liked the look that I created. It was very like boom pow, and it was just like a Friday, you know, working from home day, but I had to be extra as I always have to be. So I really enjoyed the look I created with this. This is one of my favorite Nomad palettes. I mean, I have 4. I have 4 palettes. I know some people have like all the Nomad palettes, but I only have 4. And this is definitely one that I really like. Actually, I like all of the ones that I have now that I think about it. I've got Royal Europe. I've got Hudson Valley, Cartagena Mágica, and Amor e Morte. Those are the ones that I have, and I like all of them. I would say the Amor e Morte is maybe the one that's a little lower on the list because I find that the shimmers in that one are a bit lighter or lighter, not as much opacity as some of their other shimmers, but I do like all of the palettes that I have from Nomad, and this was a lovely look, and it is at number 2. Now, number 1 is a bit of a surprise because it isn't one of the looks that was like out there, you know, boom, pow. It was really a simple look, and it was a simple, quick look. I did it in like 10 minutes, if that. It might have been 5. And it is the Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette. I didn't realize I had her in here twice. But this is the dark version of the face palette, and I think it's because I just look so happy in the picture. I had a wonderful day, and then I had like 10-15 minutes to get ready for clients that I had in the evening, and I was like, what can I do that's really quick? And I immediately thought of the Glam face palette. Honestly, I think I just used these 2 mattes here in the middle. I did use the blush, and I even used a little bit of the highlighter, and I am not a highlighter person. I felt very much like Jan, my friend Jan. She loves highlighter, but I just put like a little bit on. Jan be going in on the highlighter and blush. But I just wanted to use the whole palette. I did have to bring in something else for a bronzer because there isn't one in here, and I did want a bronzer. But this is a good palette to kind of throw in your work bag or like your overnight bag if you're going somewhere, just because it has everything in here. And maybe you can even throw in a little bronzer or something if you want that, but you have everything in here that you would need for either a simple look or a more glammed up look. So this is at number 1. I was just really happy that day, and so I don't know. Okay, so I always try to highlight like another product that isn't an eyeshadow palette that I've been liking. And you know, I tell y'all about keeping your pum-pum clean and fresh and such. So what I wanted to tell you about are these Lumi little, what are they called? Deodorant wipes. pH optimized to control odor. And it says, powered by mandelic acid. Oh, that's really good for you, actually. Refresh and control odor. Why I keep saying odor? Refresh and control odor for pits, privates, and beyond. I don't know what beyond is, but maybe you got some other stuff that you need to clean, right? It says it's not an ordinary wipe. The power to knock out odor is just a wipe away. Whether you skip a shower, don't be doing that. Why are you skipping shower? Don't do that, okay? Work up a sweat at the gym or want to refresh before or after intimacy. Also make sure you pee after intimacy. Lumi's acidified formula helps control odor so you're ready for whatever comes next. Made with skin-safe ingredients. And it says for directions, wipe anywhere you have odor but wish you didn't. Child, I love it. Like, I prefer taking showers, but if you're somewhere and you need to just refresh yourself a little bit, whether that's your underarms or your privates, your pum-pum, like, these are great. So there are 15 in here, so don't be going all ham on it. This one is Cool Cucumber. I actually think this is the only scent flavor that they have, and they're a really good size. This really is just for freshening up. Like if you're running to the restroom to freshen up a little bit, then these are really good. You can throw them in your bag. They're easy to carry. Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. So just like yesterday, I was going out and I needed to go to the restroom to freshen up, and I had these in my bag, and I was like, freshen up a little bit. So I like these, like, yeah. They also have other things. They have like deodorants and body wash and lotions. Now I really like their body wash, and I just love that it is great for like sensitive skin. I would say like my face isn't sensitive, but all my other bits and pieces are. So I like to be careful of what kind of body washes and soaps that I use. So I do like their body wash. Their lotion is okay. Their deodorant is okay. Like I think if you're working out or you're like out in the sun and getting a little sweaty and perspiring, I don't think the deodorant is best for that. If you just need to throw something on real quick, walking around the house or going to bed, like, yes, you can do that. But, child, if you out here working yourself, get some other deodorant. Get some, like, secret clinical strength. Don't be using the Lume deodorant, okay? All right, y'all, I think that's it. I need to go moisturize my hair and do my nails. So, let me know what you used this week. Hopefully some of this was helpful, and hopefully you are continuing to take care of yourself. Child, take care of yourself, because the Supreme Court is coming for us with that affirmative action overturning, and then not letting us who have a lot of student loans be off the hook for all these thousands of dollars that we done paid to get an education. Rant over. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you. No, hold on. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, tell me what you used this week, and I will see you next time.